TLS is go for auto sequence start.
And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions. T-minus 20 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. The sound suppression water system has been activated.
10. TLS is go for main engine start.
We have a go for main engine start. Main engine start. 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery, celebrating its 25th birthday by racking up science and supplies to the space station.
Houston now controlling the midnight ride of Rick Sturckow and his crew to the International Space Station. Discovery rolling on to the proper alignment for its 8.5-minute ride to orbit. 4.5 million pounds of hardware and humans taking aim on the International Outpost. "32 seconds into the flight. The 3 liquid fuel main engines soon will throttle back to 72% of rated performance down in the bucket, reducing the stress on the shuttle as it goes transonic. Discovery 3.5 miles in altitude, 4 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Standing by for the throttle up call now from Capcom Eric Bowe.
Discovery. Copy, go ahead, throttle up.
The throttle up call acknowledged by Commander Rick Sturckow, joined on the flight deck by pilot Kevin Ford, flight engineer Jose Hernandez, and Pat Forrester. Seated down on the middeck are Danny Olivas, Christopher Fugelsang of the European Space Agency, and Nicole Stott, hitching a ride for 3 months on the International Space Station. 1 minute 30 seconds into the flight. All of Discovery's systems performing normally. 17 miles in altitude, 18 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. One minute 50 seconds into the flight. Standing by for solid rocket booster separation. Booster officer confirms staging a good solid rocket booster separation. Guidance now converging, the onboard computers steering the shuttle for its precise path to the International Space Station. Discovery 37 miles in altitude, 54 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. 3 good main engines. 3 good auxiliary power units, 3 good fuel cells.
Discovery, 2-engine Maroon. Copy, 2-engine Maroon.
Three minutes into the flight, everything going very well for Discovery. 47 miles in altitude, 85 miles downrange. The orbital maneuvering system engines ignited, Discovery kicking on the afterburners for 1 minute 52 seconds, assisting the shuttle and its crew on their climb to orbit. Discovery flying on the singular power of its 3 liquid fuel main engines, draining 1/2 ton of fuel per second from the shuttle's large fuel tank. Discovery coming up on the point of negative return, where the shuttle will be too far downrange, too high in altitude to return to the launch site in the event of an engine failure.
Discovery, negative return. Copy, Houston, negative return.
Discovery speeding straight as an arrow on its night flight toward a date with the International Space Station Sunday night. 4 minutes 8 seconds into the flight, Discovery 61 miles in altitude, 163 miles downrange from the Cape. All systems in great shape. More than halfway toward its preliminary orbit, Discovery's engines, fuel cells, and auxiliary power units performing as advertised. Discovery now 212 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. The Environmental Systems Officer reports the activation of a good flash evaporator system providing cooling for Discovery's avionics until the payload bay doors are open an hour and a half into the flight. 5 minutes into the ascent toward orbit. This view from a camera on the external fuel tank.
Discovery, press to ATO, select ISTRIS.
Press to ATO will select ISTRIS.
That call from Capcom Eric Bowe indicating that Discovery can make minimal abort-to-orbit targets in the event of an engine failure. However, all 3 main engines continue to perform perfectly.
Discovery, single engine, Ops 3.
Copy, single engine, Ops 3.
Discovery now 336 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, coming up on the 6-minute mark into the flight. The guidance officer in Mission Control confirming that Discovery's computers have commanded the main engines to swivel again, enabling the shuttle to roll to a heads-up position above the fuel tank, gaining more favorable communications through the tracking and data relay satellite system as it heads uphill.
Single engine, ISTRIS 104.
Discovery, roger.
And Discovery, press to MECO.
Roger, press to MECO.
That call from Capcom Eric Bowe indicating that Discovery can make normal main engine cutoff targets in the event of an engine failure. However, 6.5 minutes into the flight, all 3 main engines performing normally. Discovery now 466 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Less than 2 minutes of powered flight remaining.
Discovery, single engine, press 104, nominal shutdown plan, go for the 20-second plus X, no go to pitch.
Discovery, copy all, 20-second plus X, no go to pitch.
The 20-second plus X referred to by Capcom Eric Bowe is the maneuver that Commander Rick Sturckow will perform after external tank separation, enabling umbilical well cameras to obtain flash photography of the fuel tank as it drifts away. 7.5 minutes into the flight, the main engine's being throttled down to limit the stress on the shuttle and its 7 crew members to that of 3 times the effect of gravity. Discovery currently traveling at a speed of more than 4 miles per second. Discovery and its crew 700 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. 40 seconds of powered flight remaining. Standing by now for main engine cutoff. That will be followed a few seconds later by the separation of the external fuel tank. Booster officer confirms a good main engine cutoff. Now standing by for external tank separation. External tank separation confirmed. Discovery now in its preliminary orbit. You can see the flash photography as Discovery fades away from the camera view. Good maneuver being commanded by Rick Sturckow, maneuvering Discovery so that those cameras embedded in the umbilical well can perform that flash photography of the discarded external fuel tank. An uneventful ride to orbit for the shuttle Discovery, 2 days shy of its 25th anniversary of its maiden flight, beginning a 13-day mission.
Nominal MECO, OMS 1 is not required.
Discovery, roger.